Are you struggling to advance your career and sacrificing time with your loved ones because of endless to-dos, low energy, and just not enough time in the day? If so, then this podcast is for you. I am your host, Dr. Ann Sung, an ER, critical care, and space doctor, a peak performance coach, real estate investor, and a mother of a toddler. I'm here to guide you on mastering your mind and give you the essential skills to achieve peak performance. So welcome to Productivity MD, where you can learn to master your time and achieve the 5 freedoms in life. Hello, welcome to Productivity MD, and I am your host, Dr. Ann Sung. And in today's episode, I'm going to show you the exact steps that I take initially when I speak with a client and where we advise them to become time creators at Productivity MD. And first of all, what does that mean to become a time creator? What that means is because you can essentially architect the time that you want to spend for yourself, for your loved ones, for work. You can architect that and essentially be in control, have time freedom if you so choose, and if you use your time wisely, and if you can make a decision and actually know that you are in control instead of feeling stuck. The first few steps, that's what we're going to be going over, which is to create a life vision so you know where you're going, to assess yourself, your current state with the wheel of life. And spawning from that, you will create 5 goals for the year, depending on what's the category that you truly need to work on. And so let's go ahead and dive in. I don't know if you guys ever heard of a life vision or have done a life vision. What that is essentially imagine yourself when you're about 85, 90 years old. And a lot of times I get people where it's like, I don't want to be alive for that long, because they're thinking that from their experience, most people are not capable physically or mentally. And what I'm telling you is just imagine, if you're at your age right now and if you take steps towards it, you can have good mental capacity and good physical capacity. What would you be doing? And I'm going to be going through a lot of specific questions that I actually give the clients myself. And you can kind of work through it in your head as you're listening to this. And why we are doing this, why this is literally the very, very first step whenever I advise somebody to become a time creator, is because we need to know where we are going in the end, at the end of our life. And if we don't know where we're going, then we don't know if what we're doing is actually taking us towards that goal, right? If it's serving us or not. If that's not what we want, why are we even doing what we're doing right now? So it's super important to have a life vision. Okay. And we can go with the flow, the path there. Who knows what it's going to be, right? But at least we have a target. We have a North Star, and it kind of guides us along our way to get there, right? If your life vision is that you want to have an impact on your kids, on your grandkids, but that right now, you're not spending any time with your kids because you're working so much. Or if you have grandkids, you're not spending any time with them either because you're working so much, then that's not really serving your life vision down the line, right? So that's the reason why we're going to be going through the life vision. And then the second thing we'll be going over is the wheel of life. And Tony Robbins does this. Essentially, we will rate the multiple categories in your life, where you are now and where would you like it to be, or what's making you stuck, or what's making you have that number from a number of 1 to 10. Okay. And after that, we'll pick the lowest 2 categories. And that's going to determine the BHAG, or the big, hairy, audacious goal that we're going to set for ourselves for the year, if that is the category that we need to work on. So let's go ahead and dive into the life vision. This is our compass. This is our North Star. Just imagine if you have a pen, paper, this is perfect, remarkable, or just dictate actually. Because when you dictate into ChatGPT, and that's the best one that can organize it for you. If you dictate to it, you will often be able to have stream of consciousness thoughts of all the dreams that will just come through to you. So it might be a little bit easier than pen and paper writing or typing actually. Or if you have a dictation software on your laptop, you can also use that as well. I myself use Whisperflow. It's installed on my laptop, so I essentially dictate everything, and it's a little bit better than Siri, in my opinion. Anyway, so let us go ahead and dive into it. The first question, these questions are not exactly in order, but these are questions that to kind of jot your creativity, your mind about, where do you want to be when you are 85 or 90 years old? Where do you want to be living? Maybe you'll have multiple homes, maybe one in Hawaii, one in Alaska. I know somebody like that. And maybe you actually want to rotate through multiple homes, like live near your kids, near them for a quarter, and maybe move to next to your next child for a quarter, etc. So where do you actually want to live? Maybe you want to live in Tuscany, which is where I want to live when I'm older. I want to have a villa in Tuscany. That would be amazing because I just love Italian food. So who are you spending your time with? Whether that is your spouse, it could be your spouse, it could be your kids, it could be your great friends that you've had for a long time. Maybe your peer group, your network, who are you spending your time with during, at your end of life, like 85, 90 years old, you're spending, like, you looking back, throughout your life, how are you enjoying your life? Who are you enjoying your life with? And where are you traveling to if you are traveling? Maybe I don't know, every quarter or every month, you're visiting someplace new. Maybe you're doing a road trip in an RV. Again, this is with good mental and good physical capacity, which is absolutely feasible if we actually take care of our bodies, right? What business or what passive income do you have? So, do you have real estate everywhere? Do you have real estate in certain cities? Do you have businesses that you already sold that you're collecting royalties on? What businesses or passive income do you have? Or maybe you sold them all and you're just sitting there and you've like invested so well that you're just getting, now the retirement income is just coming in and it's not depleting your wealth. And how much this ties into the next question, any residual income a month do you want to have for you to do the things that you want to do? What are you contributing to? Whether that could be through, for me, school's nutrition. It could be talking about time creation, efficiency, time with your loved ones. And what are you feeling daily? Are you talking about, for me, it would be feeling of zen, calmness, joy, happiness. I don't want any sense of urgency or stress, which affects me quite a bit because of all these goals I have. And it takes saying no to decrease that sense of urgency, that deadline that we place on ourselves, right? In terms of contribution, I want you to think about, right now, of course, what is your why at that age? Is this still the same? And to me, I was just thinking about it yesterday. Actually, there was an epiphany about my why. My why is I always want you guys to, especially the ones with kids or people who are about to have kids, I want you guys to know that you can choose to spend time with them now because the time with them we know is going to go by so fast that there are only 18 summers with them, right? I know that. And I have my 1 and 3-year-old, and I know that. I didn't make the connection though. Why I feel so strongly about it is probably because when I was young, my mom worked so much that my internal voice, my internal message to myself whenever it gets stressful is actually, I'm alone. And I didn't realize this until just a few months ago that was my internal voice. I'm alone. I'm alone. I'm alone again. And so I think about myself in other kids' shoes with parents who work so hard, who have to work really hard and have to spend time away. And I just want to be able to give those kids just a little bit of quality time, a little bit of presence, a little bit of one-on-one time, or maybe just a hug, a kiss, or something that shows affection where the parents are not stressed and they're able to give time, even if it's short, but presence and time, quality time to their kids. I didn't make that connection until recently, which is really strange, but this is why I feel so strongly about, I think, everything I do in terms of time, becoming a time creator, teaching people to become a time creator. Okay. So moving back into the life vision, what are your hobbies and your passion, and what do you love doing every day? Do you want to learn guitar? Do you want to learn a different language? What do you love doing? Or maybe you're still working out, still lifting weights, playing tennis, you're swimming, who knows? Well, gardening. What do you love doing every day? Just taking walks or making great meals with fresh food? That's what I would love to do in Tuscany. Just go around picking fresh vegetables, like shopping for fresh meat and vegetables, and make amazing meals from simple ingredients because everything tastes amazing there. What are you learning? We talked about language instrument, but is there anything else intellectually that you're learning? Maybe philosophy, maybe learning about other religions, maybe learning about other type of impacts in terms of like nutrition in schools or the environment, etc. What are you learning? What are you curious about? And what are you doing to have vibrance, vitality? So, essentially, what are you doing to keep your mind sharp and keep your body with full vitality? Are you making sure that you're sleeping at the same time every night? Essentially, deaf, blind, a little hungry as well, no light at all whatsoever with white noise. Are you doing that? Or are you perhaps just looking for the most nutritious organic meal? Are you going to your physician? Are you doing any sort of biohacking, longevity type of practice at all whatsoever, like sauna, ice plunges, etc.? And how is now we're going to get into the relationships a little bit. All right. How is your relationship with your spouse, your kids, if you have any, your siblings, your parents? How is your relationship with them? And if your relationships have been challenging now, where would you like it to be, hopefully, at the end of your life? Because by then, most likely, you will probably wish that you had a better relationship with them, right? That you want to, no matter how they are as a person, that you're accepting of who they are, you show compassion for who they are, and just meet them where they are, right? Instead of trying to pull them to where you are, meet them where they're at. So perhaps that's where you want to be. You want to have no reactivity with people who that you care about whatsoever. Like no matter what they're doing or who they are that you may not agree with, you show them unconditional love. Perhaps. I'm talking about all this because that's me too, with my mom. So, what level of self mastery or consistency do you have over your habits and behaviors? We kind of talked about, eating. Maybe it's time restricted eating. Maybe it's your sleep pattern. Maybe it's your working out. That's part of your identity. You're consistent and you have self mastery over, various habits and behaviors. Maybe that's drinking 3, 4 liters of water. And what are you doing that brings you joy? Whether that's going out to nature, spending time with friends, family, and what does your life feel like? Kind of day to day. Is it exciting? Is it adventurous? Is it calm? Is it peaceful? And what was the one purpose in life that you have achieved? If you just achieved one thing, what would it have been? And now that you're looking back in your life, and I think for me is that I have carved out time. It's a great balance. Probably I would love, currently it's about 3 to 4 hours a day with my kids, sometimes 5 hours a day with my kids, and also one-on-one time every 2 weeks. And I would love to, get to the point, which I think I am there now, very close, 80% of the time there, that any time that they have an event, anytime they have an activity, that I am going to be able to say yes and be there and share with them the life skills I've learned, my mental models, and also my financial investment skills I've learned. I've been able to pass it down to them. I think that's really the purpose, the biggest purpose for me, to pass things down to my kids and them impact this world. And to make sure that they understand that they don't have to do anything and there is unconditional love for them. So I don't want to raise kids where they feel like they have to achieve, 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 and it's never enough, which is where I came from. So if you have other purposes in your life, it can be something very simple. It can be something really grand where you want to solve the world's hunger problems. You want to solve environmental problems. Anything that you wish. What would be one purpose in your life that you have achieved? And how are you at that time dealing with stress? Because that's always going to come, right? Stress is always going to be there. But how are you dealing with stress at that time? Maybe it's breath work, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's yoga. How are you dealing with stress at that time? At that time, your perception of yourself, your sense of self efficacy, like how empowered do you feel? How resourceful do you feel? And a little bit about if you have, just think if you have like unlimited resources, unlimited amount of like people at your disposal and the money, what problem in the world have you solved? So that could be similar to your purpose, but it could be different as well. So if I had unlimited resources, I would love to solve the nutrition issue that we have currently with kids, the childhood obesity. And it goes, I think it stems from what they eat at the school, what they eat at the home, what's offered at the grocery stores, what's offered in fast food chains and restaurants, and the portion sizes, processed foods. It all starts there because I see them when they're grown or in the midst of childhood obesity in the ER. Sometimes I feel helpless a little bit, in the ER where it's just one person and I can't change the system at this time. But if I had unlimited resources, time, money, network, we would change the system and we would change the types of food that's available. And the next few things, there's some questions and kind of like for you to think about from now until the end of your life vision. What is a professional pursuit you can always pursue and never tick off? For me, it's sharing how to become a time creator because that's something that I've always been doing. And it's not like I'm going to stop doing. There's not a goal that I can just check off. And also to be zen, to show compassion, to be playful, to be courageous with my kids, with my spouse, and passion with my spouse. So the journey itself is where the fun is, right? The reward is the pursuit itself. What could I attempt if I couldn't fail? What would 100x of my goals look like? Right? You had that one purpose or you had that one goal. What would 100x of that actually look like? And what goals have I dismissed in the past that I thought was unrealistic or impossible? So if you truly, I know there are some limitations depending on what, a lot of people bring up the professional sports player example. But if there's something that is, you think it's impossible, but if you truly, put your mind to it, find the right mentors, the resources, what have you dismissed before, but truly it is actually achievable, right? And so those are all ideas and questions to spark your life vision. And I want you guys to just think about it and really right after you listen to it or while you're listening to it, do it in one sitting. Just close your eyes. You can close your eyes. Just imagine yourself in that state, right? And just imagine the world around you, the people around you, and just dictate through it. Okay. And you'll find that you'll have this amazing life vision that you can review weekly. I do it on Sundays. I review weekly to see where I'm going and to make sure what I'm doing now matches, aligns, and takes me to life vision. So I hope that was helpful for you. And in terms of where you are at now, the wheel of life is something that you can do that you can rate yourself from 1 to 10 in different categories. So there's the work, career, mission category. Where are you now? And then have another number of where would you like it to be. Finances. Another one is emotions, meaning spirituality. The next one is physical body. Next one is celebrating and contributions. So it could be like, how much are you celebrating your wins or what are you contributing to? And again, it doesn't have to be charity that you're contributing to. It can be to your kids. It can be to your spouse. It can be to your parents. It can be time. It can be presence, right? It's not always about charity, right? Time mastery. How well are you controlling your time? Where do you think you're at in terms of time freedom? Where you can spend the time however you want for yourself, with your loved ones, however long you want, and just doing whatever you want to do, full of control. Where are you at now? And then the relationships. Relationship, you can have a separate category for your spouse, your kids, and your friends, if you have any kids or if you have a spouse. So that is the wheel of life. And then you will take the lowest score of that And those two will be what you'll be working on for this year. All right. We're kind of close to Q4. So, but this is a good time to start planning your life this next quarter and then the following year. And the very last thing for this podcast episode is that you will create 5 goals for the year. Now that you know where you want to go, where you're at now, where your lowest category is, and now you want to create the 5 goals for the year. So the 5 goals, one of them should be yourself. For yourself, it could be in either in, spirituality, your vitality, etc., anything, self-care. Number 2, if you have kids, it will be your kids, how you want to spend your time with them, how much time do you have with them, where do you want to go? Number 3 would be your spouse, if you have any. And then if you have all 3 that already, then you would just have 2 more business goals, and that's it. Cut yourself off at 5 because otherwise you're diluting your focus, all right, which is called dispersion. You're diluting your focus like a faucet dripping down, with leaky holes down the pipes, and you're not going to make progress as fast than if you just focus on 2 business goals. And like, say, if you're a time mastery, if time is an issue in terms of your spending time with your business, part of that will go into the goal of your business. Or maybe you don't get enough time with your kids, part of that will go into your goal that you have with your kids, or maybe your spouse, that you don't have enough time for date nights, or you don't make time to do preventive marriage counseling. You don't have to wait until you have problems or big problems for marriage counseling. You can do prophylactic, preventive marriage counseling because, truly the marriage brings out our inner child wounds from before our model of the world and just exacerbates about how we defend ourselves as a toddler. Almost, it just comes out like we're a toddler. So to review, I know we went through quite a bit, but to review, we did the life vision. So what are you doing when you're 85 or 90 years old, with very specific questions? This gives you the North Star, where you want to go. Number 2, you would do the wheel of life with various categories. You can Google this with various categories. Rate yourself from 1 to 10, and then pick the lowest category of where you are. And that would be your main goals for the following year, part of your 5 goals. And then set your 5 goals. One of them, one major one, is going to be your BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal. And that's going to be like the singular focus. Maybe that's like the lowest score where it's on your wheel of life. That's going to be the singular focus for the following year. And no, that was a lot of work. And what you want to do is review your life vision and your wheel of life, preferably it can be quick, but every week. It can be something quick on your phone that you just read through really quick, because we got to remind ourselves, instead of going back into the rat races, in the cogwheel, sometimes we got to zoom out and take a look at where we are, right? So everything that I talked about is, of course, it's going to be on productivitymd.com in the episode show notes. So if you're ever confused about the questions, just go to the episode page. And of course, if people are interested in getting on a call to see whether Time Creator Advisory is a right fit for you, if you want to get there, somebody guiding you through this entire process and giving you a blueprint about what to do after we diagnose your, we know your life vision, we diagnose where you're lacking in terms of the wheel of life, then go ahead and go on Productivity MD, and there is a way to apply for a Time Creator Advisory, and we'll get on a call to see if this is a right fit for you. So thank you again so much for your kind and presence and attention. And just remember that everything you need is within you. Thank you.
Disclaimer: this content is for general information purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine. No doctor-patient relationship is formed. The use of this information linked to this content is at the user's own risk. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical conditions they may have, and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions. The views are personal views only and do not represent any university or government institution.